4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, good morning everyone. My report for today starts with the topic on leadership. So what is leadership? Leadership is the process of influencing others in a manner that it enhances their contribution to the realization of group goals. We demonstrate how social influence emerges from psychological in-group members, particularly highly in-group prototypical ones. Extensive research has revealed that there are almost no personality traits that are reliably associated with effective leadership. These findings suggest also that many of us can be effective leaders given at the right match between our leadership style and the situation. The most enduring leadership theory was by Fiedler's contingency theory. Fiedler believed that the effectiveness of a particular leadership style was dependent on situational and task demands. So this is Fiedler. And then gumawa siya ng instead effectiveness based on the situation ng dalawang factors. Yun siya yung leadership style tsaka situational favorableness. So we have two different leadership styles. We have the relationship-oriented style, and the task-oriented style. So relationship-oriented style, it focuses on the quality of people's relationships and their satisfaction with group life. The relationship-oriented leaders are relaxed, friendly, and sociable, and derive satisfaction from harmonious group relations. Sa task-oriented style naman, it focuses on getting the task done efficiently and well. Then, the task-oriented leaders are more aloof and directive, are not concerned with whether the group likes them, and derive satisfaction from task accomplishment. Groups can also exert enormous influence in individuals through the medium of norms. So, how groups influence their members? It is through norms. So, what is norms? Norms are attitudes and behaviors that group members are expected to show uniformly. These define group membership and differentiate between groups. So, in a group, we have group norms. So, the group norms are informal rules that groups adopt to regulate and regularize group members' behavior. Although these norms are infrequently written down or openly discussed, they often have a powerful and consistent influence on group members' behavior. So, another pioneer in norms is Mr. Muzaffar Sharif. His research works on the development of group norms using the octokinetic phenomenon showed that the group members provide us with a frame of reference, especially but not only when stimuli are ambiguous. So, what happens to this octokinetic phenomenon? Octokinetic phenomenon is that when naglagay siya ng light sa isang dark room and then someone would say na grupo sila, 2 to 3 persons, and then someone would say na sabi niya na gumagalaw yung light. But then on, yung others, naka-observe na hindi naman talaga gumagalaw ang light. Pero since yung isa nag-suggest na gumagalaw na yung light, and yun na rin yung parang nalagay sa isip niya na gumagalaw pala talaga yung light. Pero sa totoo, hindi gumagalaw yung light. Then another study niya is yung rubber scale study demonstrate the powerful impact of both into intergroup relations. So what happened on this study is that there are two batches, two groups of boys, and then nag-camp sila. Tapos doon yung nakita yung parang in a group na nag-ano sila ba, doon merong conflict, sa group merong conflict, and then meron din competition. Doon nila na gawa ng study on how group norms happens in a group. Next is conformity. So, conformity, sa group meron tayong conformity. So, what is conformity? Is a social influence resulting from exposure to the opinions of a majority of group members and to an authority figure, typical, superficial, and short-lived. Another meaning of conformity is a type of social influence involving a change in belief or behavior in order to fit within a group. This change is in response to real, involving the physical presence of others, or imagined, involving the pressure of social norms, expectations, and group pressure. So, the pioneer on conformity is Mr. Solomon E. Ash. For 19 years, he is best known for his famous experiments on conformity. And this study shows that people succumb to the pressure to conform to majority opinion, even when the stimuli are unambiguous. Ash influenced many subsequent social psychologists and their research, including Milgram's classic studies of obedience, and wrote a distinctive and authoritative textbook on social psychology. So, what is minority influence? Minority influence is a type of social influence which results in a change of views among the majority of members within a group. It involves an individual or minority of a population persuading other members to accept their argument, even if this contradicts the more popular view held by the majority. It is when the minority or yung mga least powerful sa group influence the majority. So how does it work? Minority can influence because of the power and control majorities elicit publicly, conformity through normative pressures. Then another is because since the minority is seriously committed to their views, they produce private conformity and conversion. So, how groups get things done? So, social loafing. So, these are the things that usually happens in a group. So, social loafing happens. So, social loafing refers to the concept that people are prone to exert less effort when working collectively as part of a group compared to performing a task alone. Then social loafing can be detrimental in workplaces. Of course, they will be detrimental. It's because not everyone is exerting the full effort to get the work done. And it will lead to reducing of productivity. So, factors influencing social loafing down. It influences expectation of core workers' performance, task meaningfulness, and culture. Another is the collective effort model of social loafing, holds that whether or not social loafing occur depends on members' expectations for and value of the group's goal. So, what can we do to reduce the social loafing in a group? So, it can be limited by establishing individual accountability, minimizing free riding, encouraging team loyalty, and by assigning distinct responsibilities for each member. group decision making. So, social decision schemes, explicit or implicit decision rules specifying the processes by which individual inputs are combined into a group decision. So, group decision making is also a type of participatory processes in which multiple individuals acting collectively analyze problems or situations, consider and evaluate alternative courses of action, and select from among the alternatives a solution or solutions. So usually, we have this in our group. We have the in how we decide on in one agenda. We have the unanimity. Discussion puts pressure on deviants to conform. Or we have the majority wins. Usually, this is what we usually do. Discussion confirms the majority position. And then the truth wins. Discussion reveals the position that is demonstrably correct. And the 2/3 majority, of course, we have the discussion establishes a 2/3 majority, which becomes the group. So take note that the type of group that is adopted can affect both the group atmosphere and the decision-making process. So last but not the least, so this is the pros and cons of group decision-making. So the process, you will receive more diversity, availability of opinions, promotes greater interest and participation from the rest of the team. Will create more understanding and positivity, and it also creates an opportunity to create collective contributions. So the cons, on the other side, weaknesses of group decision making. Group decisions are time-consuming. Decisions have conformity pressures in the group. Group can be dominated by one or a few members. And finally, group decisions suffers from ambiguous responsibility. And that's all. Thank you.